Hey guys, Kat Palm here with Studio Sweat and Studio Sweat On Demand, and I am here with trainer
Brian. Hey guys.
A very important topic today. We are always hearing push it in every single workout. All the trainers are all about high intensity, right?
Yeah, it's what we do.
How much is too much?
That's a big question.
Yeah, so today we're going to give you 7 tips on how to know if you're pushing it too hard, either directly during a workout or when it comes to your workout routine in general. 3 things as far as why this is important. Number 1, if you're pushing it too hard, you might experience regression. In other words, you could be losing gains that you've made either with your endurance, when it comes to your muscle, maybe your attitude's bad, so those are things to think about.
And we'll hear that from people. People might say, look, I'm doing strength training 7 days a week. I'm not getting more toned or any bigger.
Yeah.
It's because you're doing strength training 7 days a week, right?
So the second thing that you gotta watch for.
You can get injured, and this happens because your form goes bad. If you're pushing it that hard, it's gonna be really hard to maintain proper form and you can get an injury.
Yeah. And then the last thing is worse things can happen, like potentially if you're pushing it too hard, you might experience something, and this is like worst case scenario, you might get rhabdo, which is where those muscles break down, release toxins into your bloodstream, and let's just say that's not good. So those 3 things that we just mentioned are the why. Let's talk about the 7 tips on how you know if you actually are pushing it too hard. Number 1, and this is a very tangible one, is if you're doing heart rate training, you shouldn't stay in the red zone for too long. No. That's how you know.
No, and we see this a lot where people take a workout and they say, man, I want to get in the red more. Well, there's a fine line between getting in there more and being in there too much.
Right, exactly. And it can be for too long or too often. If either of those things happen, probably not good. Now, all that being said, your heart rate training system that you use needs to be accurate. So that's the first thing. Check and make sure it's accurate.
Absolutely.
And when we say red zone, we mean anything over 90%, especially creeping towards 100%. You shouldn't stay there for too long, only a couple of minutes at a time, max.
It's great to get there, and it means you're really pushing yourself to the limit. But if you have a workout and you're in the red zone for 35 minutes, one of 2 things happen. You either pushed it too hard or your heart rate system is not accurate.
Yeah, and one of the things about heart rate training is it's not perfect. It's a great tool to use. I use it all the time. But if I haven't worked out for a while and then I throw on my heart rate strap, and I'm going to be in the red zone longer than I would have been if I'd been working out consistently. So.
Yep, and if you do a long sustained endurance, you might have a situation where you can't get up your heart rate up too high, and it's because your body's adjusted and adapted. I'm talking if you've done multiple hours in a row, so that can happen too.
But in general, if you're working out consistently and you've got heart rate training as part of your system, for your weekly workouts, you shouldn't be in the red that much. Yep. Number 2. How do you know?
You know because you vomit. And believe me, if you vomit, you'll know.
Yeah, so that's an easy one.
Pretty simple one.
3rd tip, if you cannot catch your breath after you're done with your activity, it's a sign that you probably pushed it too hard. Once you stop the activity, you should be able to fully recover your breath within a minute or 2.
Yep.
Okay?
The 4th one is no energy post-workout. Now, I'm not talking about you leave and you get home and you feel like you've done a workout. I'm talking no energy. You're
lethargy.
Just zapped.
Lethargy.
Exactly.
Lethargy.
That too. Both of them. Lethargy and lethargy. So that's just, you're completely wiped out and you know you've just gone too far.
Yeah. The next tip for you, tip number 5, is if you're starting to experience bad form during your workout. And Brian talked about this just a minute ago, but if you're finding your knees are going in on your squats or you're bending your back when you're not supposed to bend your back, those are things that are signs that you might have been pushing it too hard and you need to switch up what you're doing.
Yep. Number 6 is you experience pain. Real pain, sharp pain, whether it be back pain or one that we hear a lot when we do have people experience pain is pain on one side.
Unilateral pain.
Unilateral pain. Thank you for the big word.
You're welcome. My pleasure. So again, there's a difference between good pain and bad pain. That so good burn is not what we're talking about. We're talking about sharp bad pain. Okay? And the 7th and final tip that we'll give you today is if you're instantly sore. If you're doing something and you immediately feel soreness on one or both sides, you probably pushed it too hard. So those are our 7 tips to figure out if you are pushing it too hard. We want you to keep pushing it in those workouts, but we want you to do so safely and smartly. Thanks for joining us. Make sure you check out those body sculpting, fat torching workouts available on
Studio Sweat On Demand.
Thanks.